Toto Wolff doesn't usually speak in absolutes. He prefers calm, calculated management, the kind that builds drivers over time instead of tearing them down under pressure. So when he went public calling Kimi Antonelli's Italian Grand Prix underwhelming twice, people sat up. That's not a throwaway word from a team principal. That's a reset button being pressed in plain sight. Antonelli, 19, is Mercedes' future. The kid everyone's been watching since karting days, the one the team groomed through the junior ladder with patience and purpose. But now, with the spotlight fully on him, the story is shifting. It's no longer about potential, it's about performance under fire. And Monza didn't help his case. Let's rewind. Antonelli didn't implode at Monza. He didn't crash out. He didn't stall. But he unraveled slowly, almost invisibly. A missed long run in practice, a messy launch off the line, track limit warnings, and a penalty for crowding Alex Albon. On paper, it reads like a bad day. In F1 terms, it's a pattern starting to repeat. That's the danger Wolff is flagging. Now here's the thing, Kimi isn't slow. In qualifying, he was just 400ths off George Russell. 400ths! That's elite territory. The speed is there, but pace alone isn't what earns a seat in Formula One's inner circle. What matters just as much is rhythm, consistency, building a weekend from Friday to Sunday without tripping on the details. And that's where Antonelli's bleed points and patience. Wolff didn't question his talent, he questioned the process. He talked about how mistakes on Friday, like that off in second practice, ripple across the weekend. No long runs, no feel for tires in traffic, no confidence in racecraft. That's not just lost time, it's lost understanding. When the car bogged down on the start and Antonelli dropped 4 places, that was the echo of Friday's gravel trap, not Sunday's reaction time. Russell, by contrast, had a clean race. Nothing spectacular, but no headlines either, and that's exactly what Mercedes needs from one side of the garage right now, the stability. Russell's 5th place finish wasn't flashy, but it came without drama, no penalties, no scraps, no lost data, just a full race in the bag. 30 seconds behind the leaders, sure, but totally in control. It's that contrast that hurts Antonelli's case. 2 rookies can't look the same. That's understood, but when one driver is executing every weekend and the other is slipping on the same banana peel over and over again, it starts to look less like a learning curve and more like a ceiling. And the paddock's not quiet either. Jacques Villeneuve came out swinging, questioning Kimi's readiness in the bluntest way possible. Nico Rosberg backed it up. Less theatrics, same message. That kind of noise stings, especially when it's coming days before your home Grand Prix. Especially when last year at Monza, you were the rising star who signed your first F1 deal after a mistake at the exact same corner. That's where the pressure becomes more than just points. It becomes perception. Kimi's fighting a ghost. The rookie expectations set by Hamilton in 2007 and Verstappen in 2015, those guys didn't just arrive, they exploded. Instant impact, instant results. Antonelli? And he's still walking through the storm, but here's the twist, Mercedes isn't panicking. Behind closed doors, they've quietly returned to a suspension setup that suits Kimi better. His feedback's improving, his control is growing. It's not that the car is broken, it's just not simple, and it doesn't give rookies clean reads. That's the invisible fight Antonelli is locked in, and it's the reason why Wolff, even while sounding harsh, still backs him long term. The truth is, Kimi Antonelli's challenge isn't just inside the cockpit. It's in the calendar, the culture, and the climate of modern Formula One. The season is longer than ever. The turnaround time between weekends is brutal. Mistakes don't just linger in a debrief. They get clipped, looped, and dissected on social media until they become part of a narrative. And in that pressure cooker, the mental game is just as intense as anything happening at 300 kilometers an hour. Wolff's phrase was "free him up," and that's not about letting Antonelli go wild on track. It's about giving him room to breathe. When your Fridays are clean, your long runs logged, and your tire strategy locked, you walk into Sunday ready to race. When Friday ends in the gravel, you spend the rest of the weekend playing catch-up. That's been the story far too often. What Kimi needs is a boring weekend. No drama, no off-track excursions, no unnecessary penalties, just clean laps, smooth feedback, and a complete race distance without asterisks. Because when he's in that zone, the pace is there. The issue isn't speed, it's scaffolding. Every time he puts together a quiet day, his talent shines through. But that scaffolding keeps collapsing under the weight of small errors. At Monza, that scaffolding cracked early. After the trip through the gravel in practice, Antonelli didn't get any race simulations in. That meant heading into Sunday with no idea how the tires would behave in traffic, no real feel for degradation, and no rhythm. Then came the launch. Wheel spin off the line, a drop from 6th to 10th. From there, it was all reactive. He was chasing positions instead of managing them. The crowding penalty with Albon just sealed the theme of the weekend: overcompensation. The stewards didn't mince words. Potentially dangerous. That's the phrase every driver dreads. When Albon tried to go around the outside with fresher tires, Antonelli gave him a squeeze and left him 2 wheels on the grass. In the old days, that was called defending hard. Now it's a penalty point and 5 seconds added to your time. Wolff didn't argue. In fact, he said Antonelli should have let it go. Albon had the grip and the momentum. The smarter move was to yield the spot and protect the tires. That's racecraft, knowing when to fight and when to live to fight the next lap. It's the kind of judgment Russell has quietly mastered. He doesn't grab headlines for it, but inside the garage, that's what sets him apart. He builds races like an architect. Foundation first, then lap by lap execution. No panic, no chaos. That's what Antonelli is still trying to piece together. And when your teammate is flawless, every misstep looks bigger. The scoreboard doesn't lie either: 2:17 in qualifying, 0:19 in races, including sprints. Those are the kind of numbers people don't forget. But numbers alone don't tell the whole story. Antonelli's biggest issue isn't lack of talent, it's lost weekends. The real damage comes from those moments early in the weekend where everything starts to unravel. If you spin on Friday, you're second-guessing yourself on Saturday. If you lift at the same corner because of muscle memory, you've already lost time you won't get back. That's how speed evaporates. Not because it's gone, but because hesitation has crept in. What he needs now is to put together a weekend where everything clicks. One where the car stays on track, the runs go long, and every session builds confidence instead of burning it. Because the moment that happens, everything changes. The conversation shifts, the comparisons ease up, and the real version of Kimi Antonelli finally gets to speak. Baku might be the perfect place for the reset. It's a street circuit with zero forgiveness, and a rhythm that doesn't follow logic. It punishes the timid and exposes the reckless, but for someone like Antonelli, it also presents a rare kind of opportunity. There's no textbook for how to master Azerbaijan. You can't rehearse this one into perfection. You have to feel it in real time, hit your marks, stay calm when the walls close in, and let your instincts take over. That's what makes it a proving ground, and Kimi knows this layout. He's raced here before. He's walked this track without the pressure of legacy or expectations. That familiarity could strip away some of the second guessing that's plagued him, and the layout suits someone who drives with aggression and flair, but only if it's channeled properly. One clean weekend here would quiet a lot of noise. Inside Mercedes, they're still all in on him. They haven't wavered. The engineering team continues to tailor parts of the car setup around his driving style. They're not asking him to conform entirely to Russell's preferences. They're trying to carve out space for him to thrive. The investment is real. The belief is real. That's why Wolff can afford to be blunt publicly. It's not to cut the kid down. It's to draw the line between growing pains and persistent habits. The Mercedes Antonelli is learning in isn't the powerhouse car of old. This isn't the dominant silver arrow of 2016. This is a machine still trying to recover its identity. The zero-pod era left scars. Design choices are still being unwound. Setup windows are narrow. There's instability baked into the DNA of the car. For a seasoned driver like Russell, that's manageable. For a rookie, it's a moving target. And that's what makes Antonelli's flashes of brilliance so telling. They're happening inside chaos. He's not driving a rocket ship, he's driving a Rubik's Cube. And every lap he logs is part of a long-term process to solve it. This isn't about surviving the season, it's about learning faster than the car evolves beneath him. That's the race he's really in, not just against Russell, but against adaptation curves, mental fatigue, and public opinion. The comparisons to Hamilton and Verstappen won't stop, but they need a reality check. When Lewis stepped stepped into McLaren in 2007, that car was a title contender out of the gate. He didn't have to guess where the grip was. He didn't have to wrestle with instability every Friday. Max, he got promoted mid-season to a Red Bull that fit his driving style like a second skin. These weren't just talented rookies, they were rare cases of timing, machinery, and confidence all colliding. Antonelli's not in that position. He's learning under fire in a machine that still bites back. And despite that, he's shown raw, one-lap pace, brave wheel-to-wheel instincts, and flashes of brilliance that hint at something more. The ingredients are there. What's missing is a stable platform to cook with. He doesn't need to blow anyone away. He doesn't need a podium or a miracle dive bomb overtake. What he needs is a weekend where nothing goes wrong. One where every lap builds on the last. One where he walks into the debrief with a clear mind, full data, and a team that isn't nursing a damaged car. That's how the perception game flips. Not with headlines, but with silence, with professionalism, with execution. If he gets through a race like Baku without a scratch, finishes where the car deserves to be, and shows maturity in defense and strategy, he buys time. And with time comes trust. And with trust comes freedom. The kind of freedom that turns raw talent into a real contender. The story of Kimi Antonelli isn't written yet, but the pen is firmly in his hands.